Hello everybody, this is Victoria. Welcome back to another new episode of Discovering Art Together. Today we are going to learn and discover about Neoclassicism. Yes, so this is kind of a art era right after the Rococo, and we are going to dive in to see what is Neoclassicism. And then also we want to ask the questions, what were the ideals and characteristics of Neoclassicism, and also kind of getting to know a little bit of what made Neoclassicism so special and important. And we will also learn some of the very famous artists from this art time and period. So if you guys are ready to discover more about Neoclassicism, let's get started. So first question what we're going to ask is, what in the world is Neoclassicism? Neoclassicism sounds very familiar, but at the same time, unfamiliar. So let's find out together, what is Neoclassicism? So Neoclassicism started around the 18th century, around 1750 to 1850. So it came right after the Rococo era, and before the Rococo era was the Baroque era. So it kind of followed along those timelines. And one of the main things about Neoclassicism is the rebirth of the classical style in art and architecture. The prefix neo means modern or new, and the root word for classical, and represents the ancient Greek and Roman style. So classical represents the ancient Greeks and Roman style, while neo represents the new and modern way of approaching the ancient Romans and Greeks art. So Neoclassicism based their aesthetics on art of Greece and Rome antiquity, which invokes harmony, clarity, restraints, universality, and idealism. So now we have like a general introduction of what is Neoclassicism. Let's kind of dive a little deeper and kind of see what are the main characteristics of Neoclassicism, and what did the Neoclassicists have in mind as their ideals and goals. So the main goals for the Neoclassicists is their belief was that art should express the ideal virtues in life and could prove the viewer by adding a moralizing message to it. So for the Neoclassicists, it was very philosophical and logical, where they wanted a lot more meaning behind the paintings that they did, and just having multiple layers of different meanings throughout their works of art. Now, some of the important characteristics of Neoclassicism are symmetry and mathematics, and I'll mention a little bit why mathematics. We also have unemotional telling of events, so I would say kind of somewhat emotionless ways of telling events. Also having simplicity of line, form, and color, and also balance of straight lines and geometrical shapes. So when I meant by mathematics here, which we see a lot, and it was kind of the virtues of the arts in the ancient Greece and Rome. So with Neoclassicism, a lot of the artists use similar values that the ancient Greeks and Rome had, so that they can kind of bring it back to life again and have it resurface into this new era of Neoclassicism. One really cool thing that I actually found out about Neoclassicism is where did the inspiration and why did people decide to actually bring back this old and antique way of expressing and creating art. Back in the 18th century, that was around the time when archaeologists kind of started to dig a little bit more, and archaeological ruins of ancient civilizations in Athens and Naples that were discovered at the time reignited a passion for all the things from the past, and artists strove to recreate the great works of ancient art. This renewed interest in classical ideas in harmony, simplicity, and proportions was a big revolution for the 18th century, and later on kind of moved towards the 19th century though, but some people were starting to change a little bit of their taste and preference about art though, but a lot of people still did stay with the neoclassicism of that time and era. So it's pretty cool that a lot of the present people of that time would look back and enjoy and appreciate the old ways of perceiving art, like the ancient Greeks and Romans. Another really interesting question arose when I was doing my research about neoclassicism is, what is the difference between classicism and neoclassicism? So classicism refers to either to the art produced in antiquity or to later art inspired by the antiquity, while neoclassical always refers to the art produced later but inspired by antiquity. I probably butchered that word many times though, but they kind of followed the antique. So classicism is made of antique stuff, while neoclassicism always refers to the ancient ways of Greeks and Romans and have inspiration from the ancient ways. So now we kind of learned what is neoclassicism, and also kind of diving deeper just to see what was like really important about neoclassicism and also some of the main characteristics about neoclassicism. Now let's go ahead and jump into some of the very well-known artists from this era, and we're going to be super excited to discover and rediscover some of our favorite artists. So first we're going to start with Jean-Auguste Dominique Ingres, which is one of my most favorite artists other than Johannes Vermeer and also many other artists. So Ingres was more known for the many amazing portraits he did, but he valued history painting above all else. He often said that it was the highest form of art. He became the principal proponent of French neoclassical painting after the death of his mentor, Jacques-Louis David. If you don't know this artist, I do recommend checking him out. He is amazing. He has such skills in executing the human figure and also kind of bringing some imagination and fiction and also like mythological ways of depicting historical paintings to life. And he also kind of adapted a lot of his historical aspects to the portraits that he painted. Next we have Jacques-Louis David. With his huge canvases of classical themes, David is widely known for his style that is more realistic and classical than ever. Most celebrated French artist of his day and of the late 18th century. So he was a very well-known artist from the neoclassical times. There are some of the famous paintings that you might know about. One is Napoleon crossing the Alps, and then there are what was the other one? But really inspiring artist and very revolutionary. Next we have a sculptor called Antonio Canova. and he was the leading sculptor of neoclassical style. Antonio Canova was inspired by the sculptures of ancient Greece and Rome, but he added a new twist to it by giving it new aesthetics of clear, regularized form and calm repose inspired by classical antiquities. And also we have next here is William Adolphe Bouguereau. Bouguereau was best known for his realist depiction of the human figure, exquisitely refined, restrained, traditionally academic style of painting. He has such beautiful paintings of Greek mythology, historical paintings, and just generally his way of painting skin and all that is just really amazing. And I was surprised when I kind of looked through the list of neoclassical artists and I was like, oh dang, Bouguereau's old. I thought he was a lot younger. I thought he was like around Impressionism time, which he is though, but he was a lot older because like he was kind of classified around in the same era as Ingres. And Ingres was a lot older because Ingres was around in the 18th century, where Bouguereau was kind of getting closer to the 19th century. But his style of painting, he painted closer to academic and neoclassical style. Like there are many other artists over here that I would love to mention, but just the list goes on. Like the list goes like way on. So what we're going to do here is that we're going to mention a few of the very well known, so feel free to check them out on your own. We have Angelica Kauffman, we also have Benjamin West, we have Henry Fuseli, I probably pronounced that incorrectly though, but that's okay. Elizabeth Louise Vigée Lebrun, and also John William Godward. And that is it for today. So I hope you guys enjoyed this brand new video and learned some new things about neoclassicism, and hoping that you guys get to do some research on your own, discover a little bit more about it, because that is going to be your mini exercise and homework for this week. So try and discover more about neoclassicism if you're interested, and feel free to discover some of your new favorite artists and also discovering new stories behind this era and art period, because there's so much more for us to learn, and it's always nice to discover new things that we might have not really known about before. And it's cool to kind of connect the dots, because now I connected lots of dots together, kind of seeing some of my favorite artists and understanding which era they're from, and also understanding why they painted the way they did. So yep, this was super fun, super exciting, super excited to share the next theme or art period of this time. I'm curious what's after neoclassicism. I think it's Romanticism. I was about to say Impressionism though, but no, not Impressionism, Romanticism. So that's going to be very interesting. Oh, also, I noticed that Ingres was, well, not Ingres though, but Bouguereau was around about the same time as Frédéric Chopin. No, I think he's younger. I think that's a little bit later. That's the Romantic period. So, yeah. Well, thank you again so much, and I shall see you guys in the next episode. If you like this new episode, please remember to like the video, subscribe to check out new videos that are coming out every week, and we get to learn and discover about art together. And feel free to comment below of any new discoveries that you guys have about neoclassicism, and if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to help you guys out. Okay, awesome, thanks again, and I shall see you guys in the next episode. Take care, stay creative, have fun, till next time, bye! Blah blah.